Hey everyone, this is Gaming Solo coming to you from Arena Commander today. There's not really anything in the verse I really want to do solo right now. Plenty of group content that I need to start getting under my belts from the last few patches. But I wanted to talk a little bit about next patch and a topic that I've seen some similar sentiment about recently. So let's get into it. Next patch is a bunch of hauling missions. There is a little bit of combat you can do to get the points, but it's a big event. Apparently, the region crisis is requiring a single contractor to solve the issue. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics as to why Rayari is looking to hire one of the four major corporations in Stanton, but we get to be the hands and feet of those corporations and get points for those corporations to get the contract. And in the end, our actions and the amount of points we rack up for each of those companies will um, affect actually what's happening in the verse and who gets the contract in the lore. I don't know what else it'll affect, possibly location. I'm kind of leaning towards doing most of the stuff for Crusader because I would love to see more Cloud City type stuff over there. I also really like Microtech. I like spawning over there because of the actual planet instead of a gas giant. That's my biggest beef with Crusader. It's a gas giant, and you only have moon missions. There's no wildlife missions or anything like that, or derelict locations that you can explore over there. Which makes me a little sad, and they're really far away from each other, which makes me sadder. It appears we're going to be able to do missions for all the companies ourselves and be able to get enough of the points to get all of the prizes for each company, which is great because there's a lot of skins for a lot of ships. And if you have a lot of ships yourself, you're bound to have one of the ones that they're giving skins out for. I am definitely going to be doing the missions for all of the companies, probably hauling missions, because I'm hoping by then that they put the C2 out, and we'll talk a little more about the C2. In that video, there will be a C2 or M2 video coming soon. More on that later, but looks to be an interesting set of missions. It looks like they're starting to listen and starting to try to give some more variety and give everybody something to do in these narrative-driven, one-shot things versus it just being hauling or it just being combat. There's ground combat, there's space combat, there's hauling, there's mining. There's no scraping yet, but you know, can't have it all, right? And why would I already need stuff off of why do they need RNC? So anyway, that's interesting, but that kind of takes us into our next subject. And sorry that this is boring. Apparently on Saturday mornings, the nobody's playing Arena Commander. Um, waiting for one player. Ay ay ay. Oh, I can't run around. So anyway, yeah, and sorry for the late video. We're a day late. It's been kind of a crazy week. I need to get better at nailing down some time to make these ahead of time and set them up to upload. I'm literally going to make this and upload it as soon as it's done. It's just been kind of a crazy week, and I got a crazy few weeks coming, not just with the holiday, but we're going on vacation the week after that, and then I'm going out of town for business, so for an entire week. So it's gonna be interesting few weeks. I'm going to try to get some material out, but with the nature of the game and the news surrounding the game, there might be some late ones the next few weeks because I might not want to talk about a ship or something. I might want to talk about something that's come up, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to do it when it comes up or right after it comes up. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is when I'm back home at my computer, able to get some footage to put the information on. Maybe I'll get some stock footage in case something like that happens before it gets real crazy. That way I can do the voiceover like I used to do and not a um, live situation like I'm doing now. And I've done the last few videos. Oh, is there somebody here now? Never mind. So So onto the subject, and I saw a post on a Facebook group actually with very, very similar sentiment, and that is in the year of stability, what's getting more stable, and why are we concentrating on content versus the actual stability, right? Some of the things mentioned were, some of the elevators are still a little wonky. Freight elevators are still real wonky, and stuff like that, right? There's still a lot of polish that's not been concentrated on, and instead of concentrating on said polish, we're just cranking out missions, right? And it's an interesting take. I don't know what side I fall on. The new content is what's going to keep people coming back, right? And keep people interested in the game, and not just coming back, but getting new players on, right? One of the big problems with the game, or with the alpha, I don't know why I call it the game. But one of the big problems has been it's only a sandbox, right? Another game that I've streamed over on Kick a time or two was Path of Titans. And Path of Titans is like a survival dinosaur MMO, basically. You log in, you're a dinosaur, you got to grow, and you grow by doing little DSE missions that are concentrated in the area that you're in. And then you have, if you're a meat eater, you have to kill other dinosaurs to eat, and you got to find water sources, things like that, right? It's very, very, very sandboxy. Um, there's not really any game content. They're relying on you to make the game content. And for a game like Star Citizen, in the current state of development, saying it's a sandbox game is great, but there's nothing to do within the sandbox, right? There's minimal to do within the sandbox. There's not a whole mission area that you could go to, or not mission, but even like an event area. There's no base building right now or crafting, so there's no getting better things or getting something that you can't get otherwise. So it's just kind of doing missions, right? And then the more sandboxy aspect would be something like piracy, where you have the player to player gameplay that happens that isn't scripted. It's just, it kind of happens while you're on the verse and stuff. Emerging gameplay is what PvPers like to call it. Oh, it's emerging gameplay. So it's um it's really hard to draw people to a game like this and then call it a sandbox, but there not be an infrastructure under it to support that sandbox. And that's kind of what they had. And by adding in all these locations that you can go to, these open world events and things like that that are always there and always capable of being done, they are adding some of that content in that, while you're out doing missions and making money to get a ship to be able to do some of the job, you can take a break and go do something that's a little more scripted, but still open ended, right? You don't have to finish it. You can say, I'm going to do this part today and come back tomorrow and do the next part, kind of thing, and get the keys for it, as long as you're not in a patch cycle and about to lose your inventory, right? But but you can do those things now, and I think it's a fine line to walk, doing these missions and setting these things up, and doing the cleanup that they said they're going to do. Now, there's a problem with doing all these missions, and that's these missions are coming in buggy. They're coming in with problems, and typically the initial launch for those missions are not. You know what? This isn't. Oh, this is let's close it to menu. This isn't super entertaining, guys. Sorry. We're gonna go into the verse and see where I left myself. Um, so the missions are coming in really buggy, and it's not a really good experience when you are coming into the mission, um, thinking that this is ready to go. They released it, right? They released it. They're supposedly not doing tier zero stuff anymore, even though they did tier zero item recovery. And you're thinking that this is going to be a polished experience. You're expecting it to be a polished experience because they tested it for a whole month in the PTU and all that stuff. And then you go in and things aren't working, or eggs are falling through the freaking ground, or you can bug the eggs out, or whatever it is, right? Whatever the crazy thing that's happening is happening. It's not a polished experience. And so you have kind of this dynamic where, hey, we need to clean up. Look at that. I'm out here. Oh, it's dark outside. Um, you got to clean up the stuff that you're adding on top of the stuff that existed that you said you're already cleaning up. So it's not a super good look. Um, I'm not a big I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the saying this is what we're gonna do and then not doing it kind of thing, right? Hey, we're gonna make the game much more playable. And admittedly, admittedly, the game is a lot more playable than it was. There's no real arguing that. Um, Looking at when I started the game versus now, the game is so much more playable. However, if the goal is to, oh, he's moving. Is he coming towards me? If the goal is to make the game a stable playable experience, but we're adding in unstable experiences into it, what are we doing, right? What are we doing? So I'm torn myself. I don't have a real thought on if they're doing this right or wrong or anything like that. I just hope that by the end of the year, because it's a year, right? It's a year process, and they told us it's not gonna just happen overnight. They told us that. I just hope that at the end of the year, during Christmas break or whatever, when everybody's on and playing and all that, we can look back and say, yeah, this is definitely in a much better state than it was before, and much more playable and a better experience, right? That's what I'm hoping. Again, I don't really have an opinion either way of if they should be doing what they're doing um, with the whole stability thing, but throwing in all the content. I don't have an opinion on that because the content's great, right? Like we're gonna get a bunch of awesome hauling missions and other missions that are gonna give us actual rewards, right? We're gonna get actual stuff for doing stuff in the game that I'm hoping goes in the hangar. I saw a post that someone was like, "Oh, we'll have it until the next patch." I'm thinking this is going to be like the other events, and maybe that person hasn't been around. The person that I saw posting about it hasn't been around long, but typically the event items like that go to your hangar, so they're there every patch cycle. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited to be able to do something that means something, because right now there's not a lot of meaning in what we do unless there's a ship that we want to save up for, right? And that's kind of what gets me in the game, is having meaningful interactions and meaningful things to do to work towards something. That's why base building is hugely important, and I really hope that they're taking that seriously and that they're getting it closer and closer to done. Because the sooner crafting and base building is in the game, the sooner we're going to see a huge spike, I think, in player counts and interest. Because now we get to carve out our own piece of the verse, right? The ship is great, and I do want to be a kind of a ship liver, and we'll get to that in some future videos. But having that home base where you have all your stuff, right? And people can meet you there. You can say, "Hey, here's where my base is," and you can share that location, and people can meet you there. You can sell out of it. It's gonna be next level. It's gonna be next level. It's gonna be a great experience, and I am looking forward to it. So, um, let me know your thoughts down below. Sorry, the videos, visual content wasn't super exciting. I was hoping to show you guys how bad I am at Arena Commander. Mostly the gun rush. Gosh, I'm terrible at gun rush. There's certain guns that I just can't use. I don't use them in the verse, and I can't use them in gun rush, and it's awful. Um, why can't I find the starport? I'm going crazy, guys. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think. Are we? There we go. There's the starport. Are we doing the right thing, or is CIG doing the right thing, adding in the content, even if it's buggy? and takes a patch cycle or so to get kind of worked out? Or should they be concentrating on bug fixes and then adding in the content? What is your opinion on that? I'm interested to know the temperature of the community on this subject because it affects us all, right? Whatever CIG decides to do, it's going to affect us all in either playability or content. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you like to get if you like to get content like this, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. Why don't you share it while you're at it? Share it with somebody. Trying to grow the channel. We're at 41 subscribers as of this recording. Woo! Which is awesome. Um, let's try to get. I really want to hit 100. I want to try to get to 100 subscribers. I know it sounds low, and a lot of you that are hearing this are like, "Man, I watch YouTubers that have 1 million subscribers." Yep, that's great. I'm lowly. I have very small goals at the moment and aspirations. Just trying to grow the channel and get some exposure. And just keep making content about the game and having these discussions about the game. And taking a look at some of the cool stuff that's in the game. So your subscription is greatly appreciated. And likes really help the algorithm to get the video out there to others. So anyway, I will catch you guys in the verse.